choose to walk in the spirit is difficult, dealing with all of the ignorance. But in the Bible, it's still talking about the Bible. What is the benefit? Everything about you counterfeit. There ain't no rebuttal you can counter with. On the internet, you the master teacher. In real life, you powerless. Keep it real with you, I don't have time for this. I ride for this, my forefathers died for this. They cry for this opportunity presently I possess, and right now you are the opposite. If you walk in love, you fulfill the law. Don't get involved and you ain't giving it all. If you ever think it's cool to threaten another man's family, then you already lost. Chemtrails got aluminum, heavy metal saturate the atmosphere. Manhattan Project, time travel, Mandela effect, what happened here? GMO food processing to the whole world become obsolete. A black man who believes in Jesus got my own team taking shots at me. You trespassing on property that you don't fully understand properly. All the back and forth, that's not for me, that's for ROC and the war machine. If we ride together, then we ride together. If we can't do it, I'd rather leave. I still stand on the word of God till the day I die and no longer breathe. We trapped inside the diaspora, nightmares of the massacre. Cold sweat, I'm below deck, in the middle passage, just a passenger. Revolutionary hardcore, liberation, that's a hard job. You ain't ready, you a oddball, keep your mouth closed like lockjaw. I learned trying to bring people together on the same page, make them separate. All the talk about reconciliation, when the time come, you hesitate. If Jesus was able to sit at the table with a bunch of sinners, you very fake. Your steps ordered by the Lord, and how it was yesterday, a big mistake. We the city sitting on the hill. Guess it all depends on how you live. Guess it all depends on how you feel, and we both know that ain't God's will. I stood on what I felt was right, I don't never question if God's real. Trapped inside this matrix, I'm about to pop the red and the blue pill.
Bless them which persecute you, bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:14-21.
Peace, peace, peace. What it is, it's your brother Tyvon Swain, aka the Orthodox Moor, aka the Seven Pillar Saracen, aka Brother Moore. And I'm pleased to bring to you a conversation about GedMatch and results in DNA with the good sister Shari Anayah, who wanted to come through and talk about her GedMatch results, her My True Ancestry results, and her 23andMe results. She said that she didn't have a wide understanding on DNA, and she wanted to see how certain things looked and were understood and whatnot. So she wanted me to go through her stuff and see what we can understand and find out. So without further ado, sis, how are you doing today? Shalom, sis.
Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings, family. I'm blessed and highly favored. Y'all woke me up this morning and I'm on my way.
I know that's right. So real quick, when people take a DNA test, I know a lot of times they have a lot of potential preconceived notions, like I think I'm gonna come out like this, or I think mine's gonna come out like this. When you took your 23andMe, did you have any idea of what it would look like, or have any assumptions, or what was that like for you?
To be honest, I thought it was just gonna say African American. I'm not even joking. I just was like, all right, let's see. I really just wanted to see what it was gonna say. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. I was familiar with the haplogroup concept, thanks to the Dr. Yehoshua Ben Ephraim over there at Hebrew Institute Learning. Mm-hmm. And so that sparked my interest in the haplogroup thing. So I was really more focused on that part, wanting to know my maternal DNA.
No, that's what's up. So when you actually did get your DNA results done, was there anything that stood out like that almost was shocking or like surprised you or really just stood out to you?
Yeah, when I got my 23andMe results, what shocked me is my maternal haplogroup. And the reason why is because my haplogroup is L3. It is, let's get it up here, L3F1B. And the literature they provided me with on 23andMe, it placed the haplogroup outside of Africa, so it was like the back migration portion and in the Middle East and all of that stuff. So it was really cool. That kind of shocked me.
Wow. Okay. So I think a good place to start is the actual 23andMe DNA test, so people can get an idea of what the distribute or what the different regional distributions are. And yeah, I would love to see what they actually have to say about that L3 breakdown, because I don't think I've read that one before.
Oh yeah, I have. I can pull that up. Actually, it's a paper.
Okay.
Because 23andMe, they're gonna be vague just about everything. They're not gonna give you some real nuggets. You gotta read.
Right.
But I can also pull that up. But what I'll pull up first is the ethnicity breakdown.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna just go ahead and share my screen since it's a screenshot. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's a little small. Is there any way we can make it a bigger screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
I think I can also zoom in if need be.
Yeah, I can still read that though too. I can see like the 36.4% Nigerian, 22.4. Yeah, that's even better. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this is just the first screenshot, and I have another one if you want to go deeper into these little sections as well. But 36.4% Nigerian, 22.4% Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leonean, 14.5% Angolan and Congolese. And to me, that was confusing. I'm going to be honest, because when you go in and view the report, they don't give you a specific origin of oh, we can't tell you where exactly your ancestors may have like settled for a long time in these areas, but like it's just a large distribution over this region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing about these DNA tests is they can't really tell you where everybody was when all the time. There is and there aren't ways to do it, but not all these DNA tests follow those methodologies and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So people got to understand that.
Yeah. And even when I went to I think it was my heritage DNA, and I uploaded my DNA there, they gave me approximately like 60% Nigerian, and the rest was Ghanaian.
Mm-hmm. Did you get any like Middle Eastern, North African, or Western Asian in any of the My Heritage stuff, or even like Somali or anything like that?
No, because I didn't do my DNA. Like I didn't do my DNA with them. I just uploaded my raw data, and so they just gave me ethnicity percentages, and I
Yeah,
didn't put
yeah.
anything extra like
Yeah.
that.
So
I don't notice it, or just don't remember. It's possible. I just don't remember.
oh, no worries. So did they give you? Do you have screenshots of like your ethnicity estimates off this, like the full breakdown?
Yes. Let me grab
That's
that.
what's up.
So let's see. That's the European portion. Let's go back a second. There you go.
Okay. Wow, that's the highest percentage I've seen so far coming out of Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone. Wow, that's what's up. Interesting.
Yeah.
16%. Congolese, Southeastern African. 14.5% Congolese. 0.8% Southern East African. Wow. Okay. That's super interesting. So you got some Native American there too. That's what's up. I see that.
Yeah, and interesting. My grandmother, on my mom's side, she used to tell me how her great grandmother was Cherokee Indian.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing that's where that comes from.
Yeah, so you're 88% Sub-Saharan African on this one. Okay, so what did My Heritage tell you, or you don't remember? Never mind. So don't worry about that. Um, I always like comparing and contrasting as many different DNA tests as I can because it's always interesting to see what different ones pull out.
Yeah, because each one they have different methodology and
You got it.
everything like that, and calculators as well.
Wow, so you're almost 90% sub-Saharan African.
Right, I got some European in there.
Yeah,
'Cause,
heavy Congolese Southeastern African mixture. Heavy Ghanaian, like heavy rice coast, like super heavy rice coast.
that's and that's also funny to me too, because my sister, oh man, when she was younger, my grandfather used to call her Geechee because she used to eat so much rice.
Yeah, like man, your DNA is looking mad Geechee right now.
And I love rice. I love yellow rice.
Yo, okay, that's what's up. So where's your family from? You don't got to give like specific cities, but I'm like roughly what region is your family from?
All I know is that my dad is from Miami, born and raised, and as far as I know, his mom and his dad are from Miami as well. My mom, she was born in Georgia, but because she was adopted, she really doesn't know her background like that. And I was just born in Miami, and I was adopted by her adopted father. So
you really could be Geechee, okay? And
yeah,
I mean, it really seems like it was what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying?
Georgia.
Man,
That's
okay.
all I know.
Yeah, okay, Geechee. you said Geechee, okay. That's what's up. And with that, and really with that much Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, like yeah. So I imagine if you did like My Heritage or whatnot. So My Heritage, they would just tell you like Sierra Leone or whatever. Like so, they specified even more. So like I promise you got. I mean, I'm looking at you got a lot of rice coast. I mean, so the rice coast goes all the way to Nigeria, right? So if you had the Nigerian plus the Senegambian plus the Ghanaian, like bro, yo, that's a lot. We're talking 58. Wow, 60+% is rice coast. That's
Literally, isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. But you got this Congolese Southeastern African mix, which is interesting as well. Like that's heavy as well. That's a big chunk. Not a lot of people have that. But what's interesting is like the people that do have it, like they really have it. You know what I'm saying? Like you get the 15, 18, 19%, 20%. And you got that Southern Eastern African mixture as well. Like, man. Yeah. So we can go ahead and go into the next one if you want to.
Okay, we can go into this here is just the rest of that page there. I'm gonna go ahead and blow that up. Can you see those numbers?
Uh-huh. So British and Irish. So it's almost like that seems like a very big like Caribbean, like a Caribbean influence, which you could definitely see coming in from Miami or whatnot. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, my theory is because I researched my last name. I had this last name thing, and my last name from my father's side is Akins, and that's Scottish origin.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we go into like DOCAD and all these other places, they have matches and like in the mixed population mode, they have it in these types of areas in the Sweden, Norwegian, and all these other areas that were heavily influenced by Scotland and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even in my true ancestry, some of my royal matches are in this area.
Yeah, a lot of most of us when we have European admixture, most of the time it is of like British Irish descent or whatnot because of like they were like indentured servants along with us being slaves, and then they were also well that's just the man. Hold on. I was getting a phone call. I got to call them back. But so what I see is like so there's no Ashkenazi Jewish on this as well. There's no Jewish on this as well.
No, but interestingly, in one of my GedMatches, it came up approximately 9% Ashkenazim.
Oh well, yeah, we'll get into that. Like, so what's interesting about 23andMe is they only test for Ashkenazi Jewish. So if you have other Jewish stuff, that it doesn't come up there, or sometimes Sephardic will get pushed into Ashkenazi, because of how close it can be sometimes. But if you want to really get a good diversity in terms of like the different types of Jewish DNA structures that they can test for, Family Tree and MyHeritage offer the most. They have the most diversity in that as well. But yeah, so I find it very interesting that you don't have like so you like I did see part of your GedMatch where like you come up in single population distances and also two population distances with Ethiopian and other types of Jewish. So it's interesting that I like to point out to people when that happens and it's not of an Ashkenazi background from the 23andMe because they only test for that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because that kind of threw me, a little bit. I'm like, well, I see, the test population Ashkenazi here in 23andMe, but when I go to GedMatch, it's not even spelled the same way, obviously, because of
Right.
different calculator and everything like that. But
oh, the one with the Y and the EY, yeah, I got you.
yeah,
yeah, it's a funny one. But yeah, I like to tell people too, like when they do come up Ashkenazi Jewish, like it's not always a like let's say if you're a guy and you come up like haplogroup I or something, okay, you might be right. But like if you come up with like a small percentage of Ashkenazi Jewish and then 23, I'm talking specifically 23andMe, you actually might have like it might be Sephardic, okay, and just know that. Like
okay.
so for instance, like me and my uncle came up a small percentage Ashkenazi in 23andMe. But when we took other DNA tests, we didn't come up Ashkenazi at all. In fact, when there was a more specific test done, he came up Sephardic and whatnot.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and I didn't come up Sephardic, but I came with like it threw all my stuff into North Africa instead. So
Oh,
like on
wow.
like
Yeah,
a
I have.
North
Oh,
African.
man. Mine is riddled with North African Jews.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so and real quick, and just to understand, so 23andMe is the most sensitive about putting your stuff in North Africa, right? So you can have all kind of like so. I have like so in Family Tree, I have 24% North African. In MyHeritage, I got 8.8% North African. In 23andMe, I got 0.5%, less than 1%. Right, so they're 23andMe is real touchy on how they do that. You know what I'm saying? So I promise you got more North African, or you might have got a North African thing in MyHeritage that you didn't get in your 23andMe. Oh yeah, please break that down.
Yeah,
The
so,
L3F1B, yeah.
and matter of fact, quickly, I want to show you this thing right here. Let me go to something real quick. I'm not sure if a lot of people use this, but I just thought it was very interesting when I did do this. I might actually have to log out. Sorry, I think out
No,
loud,
you're
so
good.
excuse me.
Can't
I'm
talk.
one of those
You're
crazy
straight.
people.
Nah, you're straight.
But
We're
I was
both the same
thinking,
crazy, so that makes us sane right now.
I have it in my Google Docs, the document that I was telling you about, that the back migration into Africa and how they say like my parent, like my partner haplogroup for on the Y side would be E1B1A.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Yeah, a lot of
Yes,
people
it's
don't even
called.
know a lot of people don't know how far away you can find L from Africa or E1B1A.
Yeah, I mean, I have a whole app. Like I'm trying to learn more about these haplogroups and things like that, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
huge learning curve.
Yeah, the good brother of the show was telling me about the BMAT culture, where you can find E1B1A as far as Eurasia, like thousands of years ago. I was like, word.
Yes.
It's like okay.
Okay, so in this right here, I'm gonna put in my I want to show you guys this. I went into an SNP tracker.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
and
what's up.
and when you go into the SNP tracker and you put in your haplogroup, this is what they show you. Wrong.
Yo, you got
Okay,
to drop that website in the back in the private chat. I need that. real. That's gold. I appreciate that.
So it literally if you follow the out of Africa theory and all of that things, it showed Eden supposedly
Right.
down here, and then how the haplogroups changed and went out, and then you notice we're in I'm assuming this area would be like Abyssinia, Ethiopia, and that area.
Mm-hmm.
And you go up over here close to the Valley of the Kings, which is over here
Mm-hmm.
at this cataract, and it's like right here on the other side. Who else do we know but in Egypt? All way back when.
Right.
Israelites. And I just find it's just very interesting when you put things like that all together.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the for those that are in haplogroup L3, this is the paper here that goes into a good amount of detail about their theory and their research on the expansion of this haplogroup within and out of Africa and all the places they can find it outside of Africa.
Hey, so Sister E, if you're watching, pay attention. I believe this one has to do with you as well. I think you're L3 as well, Sister E. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to get all the way into that one right there.
Yeah, so I can put this link back there in the back chat too as well.
Please, dude.
And so look, you can see they start off telling you the dispersion out of Africa into the Near East.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then within the human mitochondrial DNA tree, haplogroup L3 encompasses not only many sub-Saharan Africans, but also all ancient non-African lineages. And then its age, therefore, provides an upper bound for the dispersive out of Africa. And I mean, and this article, I mean, if you can see on this side here, it's pretty long to read, and they have maps. Let me see if I can get a quick map for a visual that she had. There's several of these maps. It may not be this one. It's another one, but there's several of these. There's a couple of them, and I put them in the back chat too for you.
Yeah.
And
There was one that was right there. They had that had Africa that was darkened up.
Yeah, that one
that shows the distribution through Africa. Whatever. I think that's interesting for people to see.
Right. Here, I'll show it. I'll go down and show it. That wasn't the specific one that I was thinking.
Yeah, I know. But I was just.
Which one I'm thinking of? The one that shows like the world and like the whole world map and in and out. Let's just go here, just so. Because that one is pretty cool. This one.
Yeah, just so people can get an idea of the distribution rates and or distribution concentrations and whatnot.
Yeah, so this right here is it's a frequency map based on the data in this study, and then so they have the different frequencies. The darker it is, the higher the frequency is. And if you can see in the Horn of Africa, that frequency it's hitting the
heavy.
Horn,
Yeah,
the West Coast over here, Angola, and all that. This would be I'm drawing a blank here. I want to say Gambia.
So again, we're talking about like the Senegambia. We're talking about
yeah, there we go.
All that type of stuff. And so yeah, that's the beginning of the rice coast right there. So the fact that you have it in East Africa and West Africa, that's very interesting. So the question is how does that happen, right? How does that get there, etc. And so you can see like if you go from the Horn to the tip of Senegambia where she's at, there's something called the Sahel like trade routes and whatnot, to where in between the Sahara and in the tropical areas of Africa, whatnot, you have this area called the Sahel that's just a natural highway where people can travel through that joint and whatnot. So this is a very interesting concept, and it makes sense now when I see this, and also see parts of your GedMatch as well, which we'll get into later. But yeah.
Yeah,
you can go whatever picture you want to on this whenever you want to.
Okay, yeah. We can after this, we can go into my tree ancestry since it's up here, and then we'll just get into the screenshots of GedMatch.
Sure.
What I want to add with this, if you go and you research the migration of the first farmers out of the Near East area. Um, it it core it corresponds to a lot of our Bantu tribes and everything like that. They're traced that said in their oral history, we came from the north, and then you can see these different farmers and agriculture as they make their way from the north through Egypt down into across the Sahel and down the east coast of Africa and so on and so forth. And they have studies on that as well. They have papers on that as well. But what we will do, I'll just keep those up there because I have to get the links anyway. We're gonna go over here to My True Ancestry. Which part would you like to see first?
Hey, real quick, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to share this. I want to ask you a question and see if this is the picture of the map you wanted to see.
Yes, let me see. Let me go back.
Where am I at? Bam. Was this it, or is there another one you wanted to see? Because there's
That's
another
it right there.
Okay. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger. Because this is where you're talking about how it links with Asia, etc., correct?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, don't do me like that. You know what? I don't know why my joint is tripping right now. Hold up.
You may have. Did you download it?
Nope, I'm gonna do that just now. Hold up. So I'm gonna show your stuff while I'm doing that right quick. My joint is tripping.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I gotta get a new mouse. There we go.
And you know what? When we start speaking about DNA, and you have all these people who come at us and they, make slide comments and they throw shade or whatever, and they don't realize just how much we actually read and research the DNA. Like literally my Google document right here has, I don't even know how, 6 pages of just links, research and reading and
Wow.
notes and all this stuff, like screenshots of stuff and research and definitions and everything like that. They, to even throw shade at our comprehension is an absolute insult.
Yeah, this isn't the biggest or whatnot, but if you actually look at the picture on the screen or whatnot, you can see to where the L3 is going through Central Africa, goes through North Africa, and then shoots off through the Middle East through India and whatnot. So that's significant.
1 second. I want to see just one thing at a time. Yes.
And what's significant about that is like, so our people in the scrolls are supposed to be dispersed all the way. Even in the scrolls, we're like, you can find us in India and whatnot. So that's a very interesting thing right there.
Exactly. It surely is. My theory is that L3 has everything to do with Abraham and his wife and that area, coming from that area solely.
So you think Sarah maybe L3?
I think so. Because a lot of us are L3. We're either L3E, L3B, or we're L3 something. And then when you go and look at the majority of like Egyptian haplogroups, they're in between the LO and L2. And so I'm thinking that L3 is just a Hebrew haplogroup.
Wow. There's a lot of testing we'll be able to do over time to actually figure that one out. But I do think there's a strong chance that Sarah could have been L. Just like I think there's a strong chance that Abraham could have been E.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's fun to look into this type of stuff.
It certainly is. 100%. Okay, so I'll
take
the
nerds would understand that.
For real. Like I said, same kind of crazy. Don't even worry about it. So I'll take that. But yeah, you can share whatever you want to.
We're gonna go ahead and go into this My True Ancestry. This is really cool. Family, if you haven't uploaded your DNA to My True Ancestry, I highly recommend it. Disclaimer, it is expensive. You do have to pay for certain things if you want more samples. I'm not affiliated with them anyway. But
even the free stuff is cool though.
Yeah, even the free
I've
stuff is
only done
really
the
good.
free stuff, and I thought it was fascinating.
I couldn't help myself.
You and everyone else I talked to, I was like, I couldn't justify it, but I'm not mad at you.
I couldn't. It was like, more samples, give it to me.
I know, right? For real.
So this right here is what me and Mo were talking about in the backstage. Is when I first got in here and did the analysis. The first thing that comes up is Khoisan, Yoruba, and Bantu. And I still don't even have a full understanding about the Khoisan. That's something I'm still looking into getting into.
Like the pygmies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very interesting conversation, and it's interesting to where you see them. There's an overlap between them and a lot of certain Bantu tribes and their migrations and whatnot. So it's real interesting to see how they link up.
Yeah, it is. It is. What else? Let's go to the modern populations here. And you see the first thing that comes up is Limba at a 3.380 distance, genetic distance. And let's just pull this up real quick just so the family can see that what these numbers mean. So the numbers mean, it's a genetic distance that measures how close you are to a given modern population. So 5 means you're close to this population, 10 means you could fit into this population, and 15 means it's a related population. The lower the number, I'm assuming the higher or much closer you are, higher probability of you being a part of that population. Similar to GedMatch and their distance and how they do distance. Mandinka, Sub-Saharan, Yoruba, Bantu Southwest, Bantu Southeast, Biaka Pygmy. And then they have the chart down here where you have me over here. Oops, you have me over here with this red star, and then the Limba really close, Bantu, and you can't tell exactly what that is, but I'm going to assume since that's an S and another S, Sub-Saharan, Yoruba right there with them, Ethiopian and Ethiopian Jewish down here.
And the blue dots are the closest one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's go to this globe here. And this globe will show you a lot of your ancestral matches just in a globe form. So then you can zoom in, and we got some. This is the Moor Caliphate over there in 500 AD with a genetic distance of 17.73. I have a couple more post Reconquista Granada 1550 AD at a genetic distance of 9.39. But there's so many different things here that you can see. I don't know if this is big enough.
Wow, you got mad hits in South Africa. Okay.
And
What's your oldest one in the Ethiopia region over there? And can you write?
let's go check that out actually. They have
You got
it.
crazy hits in South Africa. That's what's up.
Yeah, it is. Let's
That's the
go
most I've seen so far.
in the timeline right here. I have Asian Ethiopia 2. Let's see. Let's give us a full detailed timeline.
Okay, I got the 2500. So okay, wow. Okay, that's what's up. Ancient Malaysia, interesting. Okay. Kenya, yeah. Yeah, so a lot of us are finding with the Maitri ancestry, we're finding like heavy links in Ethiopia and Kenya at old ranges, like the BC type stuff. So lots of Kenya. I got a ton of Kenya on my stuff, ton of Ethiopia on my stuff.
Yes, a lot of Kenya, a lot of Tanzania.
Right, Tanzania as well. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot here. I got an Egyptian Canaanite kid in Lebanon here.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
In 500 BC, man.
Listen.
Hold on. What?
We all in that region. You hear me?
Come on now.
I mean, it is just wow. A lot of this stuff, when I first seen it, it was like information overload. I
Right.
wanted to read everything, all of the links that they give you for the research. I was like, I just need to know. This is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I first woke up in 2016, I ran from doing my DNA or anything like that. I was like, oh, I don't even want to know.
Man, I took 3 tests all at the same time. You know what I'm
Oh, let me hold something. I'm like Sister E, man. I did not want to spend. I was not trying to
Oh
part with
man,
them
I was looking for
dollars.
every coupon code, every sale. No, understand what that was. You know what I'm saying? I was looking for the buy one get one free. You know what I'm saying? Like it was all that. I was doing my coupon clipping for that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, here, this is what I wanted to also show you, is that in 1472 AD, early colonial Mexico City slave trade victim at a genetic distance of 1.314.
You know what tripped me out about the maps is like when I get to the Americas and see the Europe and stuff there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
what? Okay.
yeah, that got me too.
Yeah, mine had Europe in the Americas and Europe in like in Mexico and Europe, but also in I think it was either Brazil
Here you go, right here,
or Jamaica, something like that. Okay.
16 AD, African slave.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, you got the Newcastle South Khoisan. Okay, that's what's up.
Yoruba came
See
in.
right there. Hold on, real quick. Like, so you got the Europe peoples in the slave trade in Saint Martin and whatnot.
Got a
See,
whole
that's
bunch of them. One, two, three,
wow.
four.
Okay.
I believe I have like one or two Mexico City slave victims and um, Yoruba, colonial Mexico syphilis
Dutch.
victim.
Okay. Wow.
It's kind of hard to say the slave trade did not happen, and they got a lot of skeletons from this slave trade. I'm just saying.
Man,
Now, where are they getting this DNA from if it never happened?
that's what actually got me when I first. I was like, yo, like y'all got slave like bones that y'all dug up to do this stuff. I was like, oh wait. How come we don't know about this
Yes,
stuff? I was like, like if
yes,
you gonna give me Black History Month, give me some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, stop playing.
yes, exactly. And just a quick Just a quick side note. I did when we came across this, where is it? The Moor thing
Mm-hmm.
over there, right? In Forbes, they have a article about the skeletons that they found, and I believe it was Lagos, Portugal, and the skeletons that were found in the dump,
Mm-hmm.
right? Initially she did the study and she said it was Jewish victims, and then she did another article, this author, and then said it was African slave victims of these same exact skeletons. So these were legit West African Jews, but of course they're not going to say that they were West African Jews. But they were talking about the same exact skeletons in the same exact time frame right here. During the Inquisition, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just so ironic how they go to great lengths to hide this information. Where are we going next? More?
You want to go to the GedMatch, or
Yeah.
is there more you want to get into in my ancestry?
I think I just really want to show the family this cool aspect of it, and then we'll just go ahead and get into that, because that's really everything else is technical stuff that you don't really
Okay.
see. So you have your Royal Ties Global, which is a new thing. And like I said, you have different. Oh, I only have a couple. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. But you can see here, this one is an ancient Egypt ancestral seat, Valley of the Kings,
Mm-hmm.
E1B1A haplogroup, Y-DNA haplogroup. And then you have, what does that say? Early name I cannot pronounce, Norwegian royalty, Danish royalty, etc.,
And if
etc.
you make that a little bit bigger, I can read it.
Um, let's see here. Scooch. The thing is, the map itself doesn't get bigger. Oh, that computer class came in handy.
I know that's right. Okay, I
Um,
can read that. Okay.
You got the Arpad Dynasty, Buddha, and these things. When you click on them, they take you to different articles and things like that
Oh, okay.
for you to be able to read and etc. etc.
That's
Um,
what's up. Wow.
you know,
So at
and
least you're
you,
getting some when you pay for it. I got you.
yeah, I mean, you're definitely getting a lot of information. You're getting links. You're getting, um, distances, and you can do a whole bunch of research and do honestly a complete study and a nice review on my true ancestry on these. You see that Lion of Judah right there? Child, we're everywhere. We are everywhere, everywhere. But yeah, that's that. You have the screenshots for the
GedMatch. Yeah.
GedMatch.
So let me see. Yeah, let me start there. So this is your MDLP World 22. This is just your pie chart and whatnot. And I see that it says that you're 82.4%, 44% sub-Saharan African. Let's see, 5.11% Near East, which I thought was interesting. 1.43% South African. Let's see where else.
What's that 1.4 up there? Arctic. What is that?
Amerindian.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so this saying this is that you're more Native American than what 23andMe told you were. Like, so if you take like a family tree or My Heritage, it'll probably tell that you're more than a family or than 23andMe as well. Um, I think My Heritage is like yeah, they told me I was like way higher than that. I'm like 13 to 20% Native American, and like My Heritage gave me the highest range on that one. Let's see what else. Yeah, going into I think this is the only one where you gave me like first or single population distance, but this is a two population distance, I believe. And you're seeing Limba pop up with all kind of other stuff.
Yeah, you see.
Mm-hmm. And this is where
Oh,
it gets interesting when you see that Southeast African stuff and mixing with the Congolese stuff as well, because that Congo area in Southeast Africa is a big blending area. That where again, this is that's the place where like the Limba dipped out and whatnot. And so we uncovered the fact that there were over 500,000 slaves, like 542,000 plus slaves taken from the coast of Mozambique, and they weren't just taken from Mozambique; like they were taken from the interior to Mozambique and then taken into the slave trade. So we're finding situations like here, and also with Dante Fortune, to where we're being like, so he's E1B1B, right? And so we're
mhm.
like his DNA is actually forcing us to have to like, and like you, his number one matching is with the limber. You know what I'm saying? And so he's
Yeah.
actually forcing us to actually have to go retest the limber at a higher STR rate to go see what specific form of E1B1B they have to see if he actually matches up with them. Because he actually might descend from a Limba male that came directly through the slave trade. You might
Oh,
descend from a Limba female who came directly from the slave trade. You know what I'm saying?
wow.
And again, we can document via slave voyages to where like there's some of these 542,000 slaves coming from Mozambique, etc., that do make it to the ports of Charleston. So we're talking about like if you're Geechee fam, you came through Charleston. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how that one works. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's very possible. Very, very. And again, when I talked to Tudor Parfit on Sister East channel, he told, like, I asked him, should we be taking DNA collects in America to further understand our Limbic connection? He was like, yes, absolutely. Um, so I always tell Sister, like, yo, like, so we always talk about the Limba males, right? But what are the Limba females mitochondrial DNA? What are their haplogroups? Do we know?
Right.
No, we need to go find out for our sisters and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Because I promise you, if we take their DNA, we're going to find L2, we're going to find L3, etc., and a few other things at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you because I mean, oh man, the information is there. It's just a matter of uncovering it, really.
Where's your single population distance for preempt? There we go. So you got Limba at 7.89. That's mad low. Bantu, Mandinka, Sub-Saharan, Yoruba, Biaka Pygmies. And look at the big jump from Yoruba to the Pygmies, and then the big jump to Ethiopian, right?
Right.
It's not like a consistent, gradual, whatever. Like it's big jumps and whatnot, right? So now we know that you're coming from blended populations and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The Mandinka, Yoruba, they come from similar areas, etc., whatnot. But when we see Lemba, Bantu, heavy, right? And then the jump goes into the Biaka Pygmies. That's the Khoisan stuff, basically, roughly. Like it'll come up that kind of way. And then you see the Ethiopian Jew, and then it drops down to the Yemen. You see Jordanian, all that. Like, man, okay. So when you see the bigger numbers at the bottom, I try to tell people like this is a way of understanding like migration patterns and whatnot. And when you're going through GedMatch, you got to figure out, you got to understand, like particularly if you're of African American descent, that we're coming through. We have multiple migration patterns. We got to source out in our DNA and whatnot, because we're a very mixed African descent people. You know what I'm saying? So like we literally can come from East and West Africa and South Africa all at the same time.
Yeah, we literally could, because we've been so scattered.
Right. Exactly. So like when you see DNA like this, you're seeing like, wow, that's pretty much all of Africa right there. Like, yeah, yeah. And when we're people who like are supposed to be scattered to the four corners, like the sis was showing, like, yeah, this is where L3 was in Egypt. This is where L3 is over here. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So like when it's saying Australian and whatnot, right? Like so, it's talking about like any kind of Austronesian DNA can come up that way, right? Like so, like Austronesian stuff begins in East Africa and goes into like Madagascar and like in India, all the type of stuff. You know? So you're seeing the L3 in India. So sometimes that's why it's going to come up Australian, etc. So,
So what would you say? You see the single population sharing. What's your hypothesis for the migration?
So I would like to compare this to like when it comes to the world population. Like for me with I'm not the biggest fan of MDLP. MDLP is cool. I like it, but I like mixing it with the DOCAT more than anything, right? And the ethiohelix and whatnot. So that's why I asked you for your DOCAT results, because long story short, like I think your DOCAT results tell the same a better story or more clear story in that sense, right? But you're going to see the same thing to where like when most of us, or not most of us, I'll say most of it. Yeah, I will say most of us are going to see a connection with the Jews through the two population distances and not so much the single population. The single population will come up with like in MDLP, and it'll come up in DOCAT, right? MDLP world and DOCAT world. You like, so for instance, like if you're like most of us are going to come up like in the 60s with the Ethiopian Jewish, right? You will show up in the DOCAT Africa 9, or I mean the DOCAT world 9 with that in a similar manner. And we won't show up in the ethiohelix or anywhere like that in the single population, but we'll show up in the two populations, right? And what that's showing is if your connection is showing it like that, your migration is most likely an old migration. One of two things happen. It's either a really old migration, really, really, really old. Like we're talking like prior to the Babylonian captivity, like migration type stuff, right? Or you have like an East African connection, or like somebody in your lineage was taken from East African slaves, like one of them 542,000 and whatnot, right? And then their genetics got drowned out amongst the people who were taken, like particularly like the Gullah or the Geechee, like the Rice Coast people and the people from the Congo, Angola, and whatnot, right? So that's why you're seeing these trace mixes in the two population distances in like ethiohelix, and particularly when you see the ethiohelix, that's really significant because ethiohelix is real touchy on that. Like so for me, I come up with single population distance Ethiopian Jewish matches, right? So that means I have like a closer, a younger migration pattern, right? If that makes sense, right? But a lot of us have older migration patterns. So just because you don't see like single population distances and like in the ethiohelix, look for that second the two population distances or whatnot. Because if you start seeing connections like in like, so you're seeing like how as it gets lower, like so for instance, like in 62 you get the Ethiopian Jew, right? But then you drop down to 77, you get Yemen, right? 82 you get Egypt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is talking about that. This is showing you that migration pattern.
Yeah, stuff, right? Literally. I was literally thinking the same thing. Like, and then you got Bedouin all the way down there at 91.
Right. 88 Jordan.
You know.
You know where George's at, right?
I'm trying to tell you, hey, somebody.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, that's so now let's go compare. Like, I'm actually more interested in comparing this to your Docat if you don't mind. So I'm gonna stop sharing this one and go show you Docat right quick.
And I was also able to log into my heritage if you want to see that as well.
Ooh, always. Yes, that's what's up for real. Because yeah, I love comparing and contrasting. Because the more, the merrier. Okay. So these are your Docat Africa 9. So typically, if you come up in the 60s in like the MGLP and your connection to the Ethiopian Jew, you're not going to see it in the single population distance in the Docat Africa 9 or in the Ethio Helix, but you will see it in the Docat World 9. So like I'll show you here, like, so you're seeing again, like the Fong, the Congo, the Luya, the Bamoon, whatever, bunch of West African tribes, etc. And then at the bottom of it, you start seeing, oh, here's connections to the Maasai, here's connections to the Hadza people, here's connections to the Ethiopians at the, you know what I'm saying? So like you're seeing the migration pattern and whatnot, right? So either it's an old migration, or you come from a mixed migration to where people came from East Africa in a short distance. They just got diluted amongst the West African DNA. But it becomes really clear when you see it like this. So here's your mixed population situation, right? Your secondary population connection. So you see the connection to the Moroccan Jew, North African Jew, the Druze people. Again, the Druze people say that they come from Jethro, the Midianites, and they live in Israel. You feel me? The Egyptians, Jordanians, Ethiopians, East Africans, Ethiopian Jews, Moroccan Jews, Yemenis, North Africans. Like that's not insignificant when you see this, and we need to understand that because there's multiple migrations from Israelites and to multiple parts of Africa and Southern Arabia at different points of time. And we need to understand that those migrations are going to look different, and we need to understand what they look like. So your stuff looks very similar to Dante Fortune's, right? Like Dante Fortune, he literally has an East Africa, like, so his haplogroup his haplotype is most prevalent in Yemen, right? But yet the vast majority of his DNA is West African, right? But when we get in, like in a lot of times we're seeing his like Ethio Helix, even though he has an East African Yemenite haplotype, he doesn't come up in a single population distance in Ethio Helix, but he has a two population distance, right? Showing this either really old migration or dilution of DNA. Do you know what I'm saying? So when we see this, like, so for me, like my whole thing looks like Moroccan Jew, North African Jew, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because I come up in my single population distances in Africa 9 with the Moroccan Jew, North African Jew. My mom, for instance, right, she comes up with connections in the Africa 9 with the Moroccan Jew, and this is single population. This is Moroccan Jew, North African Jew, Ethiopian Jew, and Yemenite Jew. There's a Somalian sister, same thing. You know what I'm saying? But that's talking about, like, so that's a younger migration route. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we need to understand what these routes look like and what it looks like genetically. And there's like the sister saying, like her computer got 6 pages of just links for DNA stuff. Yeah. Well, when we're done, it's gonna have like 600. You feel me? 600. Right? You know,
literally. And no, that's just for me. I'm still doing, like, you know, I'm still doing research on Ashkenazi. I'm still doing research on all of the different Jewish groups because I want to see how everybody relates to each other.
And with genetics, we can figure all that out over time. So this is your World 9, right? So your World 9. Oh man, my mouse is tripping. Come on, there we go. So again, we already know the stuff up top. I'm gonna drop you all the way down to the bottom to see. Here's Kenya, here's Somalia, here's Ethiopia, and here's Ethiopian Jews. So you're seeing them like there's and look at the big mix and drop, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, so you definitely come from a mixed population, sis. To where like there's some, I would say that there's somebody who came from East Africa, like somebody in your mix. If we look at it, like your mother's parents and their parents, etc., your father's parents, their parents, etc., like somebody along that line. I personally would would lean towards the concept of having come through the East African connection to the slave trade, and then also being mixed in with the Geechees and whatnot, and the Rice Coast people and whatnot, and the people from Angola and Congo and whatnot. Because it's not a gradual, like, you know what I'm saying, a gradual rise. It's a big jump. It's a big jump. You know what I'm saying?
It's a huge jump. And then when we saw in My True Ancestry all that Kenya and all that Tanzania over there.
In the ancient form. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I'm saying you can see it in terms of the migration pattern. So that part you can still see migration, right? You can see the gradual rise going through migration that way, right? But you get that big jump when it comes Somalia, Ethiopia, Ethiopian Jew, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have the hunch, like, and again, when your top numbers and other stuff is coming up Lemba, and this is what I like about My True Ancestry. They also use Lemba. They're the only other people who have like a GedMatch style testing concept to where they actually come up with Lemba and whatnot. So you came up closer with them with Lemba. You came up in the 3s, right?
Yeah.
And with the GedMatch, you came up with the 7s and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, like there's a reason for that, right? And people are trying to be like, oh, well, it's only because it's like, no, you're not really looking at it. And the guy who did the DNA testing saying there needs to be more testing done. Tuda Parfa said there's not enough. We need to do more. We need to go test the Loango Jews in West Africa. We need to go test more African American people here to see what the connection is. It's necessary. And again, this is why it's necessary, because with the testing that Tuda Parfa did, it was done based upon 6 STR or 6 short tandem repeat DNA testing, whatnot, right? So it's very general at that level. So with 23andMe, they test at a minimum, I think, of 22 STR, so it gets really specific. So if let's say Dante took a test at a 6 STR rate, he would come up like EM35. That's what some of the Lemba come up. The ones that have E1B1B, they come up EM35. But if they take a 22 STR test, they're going to come up something really specific, like EM34 or something like that. Like again, Dante is EM84, a derivative of EM34, right? They'll come up something really specific, not just EM35. So we are now at a point where we are forced to do this testing, and we're being told by the person who originally did the Lemba testing to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're under the impression that the Lemba weren't included in the slave trade, but like you said, it could just possibly be earlier. You know, that East African, East Indian slave trade, or however the case might be.
Yeah, I mean, 540,000 people is not a small group of people. Like, yeah, there was 10, 13 million people taking the slave trade, but understand, like, that's a lot. Particularly like in the South and whatnot, in certain spots, like in islands and whatnot, you're having isolated population groups, right? And so when you're comparing our DNA to other, like when you're comparing like all the African American DNA and whatnot, it doesn't all look the same. It doesn't have all the same distribution rates and whatnot, right? And so we got to understand that it looks like that because different slaves were coming in to different parts of America at different times from different parts of Africa for different reasons. Again, like so, like from Miami to the Carolinas and whatnot. Again, that's where they were trying to go get the Rice Coast people for, so they could go grow rice and whatnot, right? Just is what it is. It just is what they were targeting certain people and whatnot, but other people also got caught up in that slave trade. So if it's documented that people came in from Mozambique to South Carolina, then it's very possible that Lemba were on those slave ships, male or female.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that more testing should definitely be done in that area, but also more testing needs to be done on the west coast of the United States as far as looking into that colonial history and all of that, because remember, that was Spanish territory back then.
Yeah, I live in Washington State. Washington State, literally, like we have potatoes that grow wild up here that the Spanish brought up here from South America, called Ozette fingerlings. You know what I'm saying? Like there's forts that I had to go visit in high school for field trips and whatnot for like our Northwest history classes when where like the Spaniards were like firing on the forts up here. You know what I'm saying? This is Washington State, like the northern part of the west coast of America, fam. Like, go look up what old Mexico used to look like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Woo.
Literally, and there's so much history.
And the cold part is like, so all that would have been underneath the Inquisition.
Exactly my point. I mean, you can hide a lot of bodies over there. You see Canada? Never mind. Let me not. You see Canada? They got thousands of bodies they find in. Yeah, this which one is this one?
This is the Dokad 9, World 9, the mixed population. So yeah, I can go back and look at your other one as well. Like, cause you kind of sent me like a hodgepodge. Like, oh yeah, let me go to Ether Helix real quick. Let me go to that one.
Yeah, I just kind of sent you what was already on my computer from when I did my videos on my channel.
That's cool. Oh well, man, you got to share screen and let people know where they can go subscribe to your channel as well. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. My screen name on the screen it's the same name as my channel. I'll pull it up here for you all to see. Got a few things scheduled to come out in the next couple of days. Trying to hash out this content before my classes start on the 20th.
There you go. Okay. Damn.
Cause this is my channel. I'm Shari Anayah, and my DNA journey is the Am I an Israelite? Undeniable Evidence Part 1 and Why Biblical Israel Matters. I go through some history and my DNA and some scripture, and I tie that all together in these videos.
That's what's up. I look forward to checking those out. That is what's up. So,
just to see.
Oh, I stopped. You want me to share it again?
Yeah, sure. Because I'm going to be breaking these down a little bit more. Just so it's easy, the information is easier to digest for people that don't want to sit for 2 hours. So I have some things that are scheduled.
Okay.
The origin of the Bantu, last days, prophecies, Israelites in Africa, and the invention of the Jewish people. That's a review of Shlomo Sand's book, The Invention.
Interesting. What do you think about what he said? What he says about like Ibn Khaldun's work about like talking about like the Jews amongst the Berbers, etc.
What do I think about it?
Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with that part of it now?
No, I'm still in the beginning.
Okay.
In the book, how far into the book is that? Because I'm trying to go piece by piece and preface and all that stuff. Make some notes.
I'm not certain. I watched the presentation he gave on it where I heard him speaking about it. So I don't know what part of the book it's in. But I'm familiar with Ibn Khaldun and what he has to say about it. So I was shocked when I heard him talk about it. I was like, oh, word. I was like, oh, it's about to get interesting.
I'm gonna have to go look at that because I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty fast reader, so I'm sure I'll get to it.
Yeah, so like a lot of people don't know is like, so we hear a lot of argument over the Sephardic Black Jewish sources going on right now, right? What a lot of people don't know is that the Islamic sources literally break down our migration patterns in Africa and through Africa, like you wouldn't believe. Specifically, like from the Ethiopia, Yemen area, and also like Ibn Khaldun talks about like the Jews coming into Africa from the Levant and Syria and from Ethiopia, Yemen, heavy. And Ibn Khaldun is from Yemen. So he's writing this in North Africa and saying, "My people are from Yemen." Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's a Muslim saying this. He's like, but there's Jews also from Yemen, Ethiopia, etc. Blah 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 blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? That came through thick and heavy, and so he describes how they became the people who ended up becoming the Moors that ended up going into Spain and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like when you actually link up the history, it's the who he's talking about. He doesn't say that they were the Moors that went to Spain. He talks about them becoming the people who, when you map it out, they become the Moors who go into Spain.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of people don't recognize that the that the Muslim Moors who went into Spain and bailed out the Israelites in Spain, the vast majority of them actually descended from Israelite tribes or Israelites who would converted to Islam, etc. Whatnot.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Oh, you're my heritage. That's what's up. Okay. Wow. 6 other ethnicities. Oh, I gotta see this. Wow. Okay. 60% Nigerian. Wow. Okay. So when you look at the maps, you got to click on the map to see like what does Nigeria cover? Does it cover Benin, Togo, all, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you got Ethiopia in the piece. Okay, look at that. You got Somalia 3.5%. Okay. Right. And this is why I say you got to take the different tests with it. Like, so family tree and my heritage are more sensitive to East Africa than in North Africa than what 23andMe is. Wow, 7% Kenyan. So you all that Kenyan stuff from my true ancestor makes all the sense in the world. 3.5% Somali, sis. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And then just generally West African, but.
And so real quick, like, so Sister Dana Marnici, like, I built with her thick and heavy. She talks about this. She believes like the Somali people. If I have her correct, I may be incorrect on this. So like, if I'm wrong, sister, please don't shoot me. I believe she says that the Somali people descend from the Banu Sulaim tribe, which is an Israelite tribe coming out of. That's a long story, but like basically, like there's a lot of Israelites in the Somali tribes and whatnot. And you can see that there's a group amongst them called the Ibir people who are like the Hebrew Somali and whatnot. But like even beyond them, like so there was a regular like the Somali sister I saw who did GedMatch. She's like, yeah, I'm Somali, but when you put her in, she's more Ethiopian too than Somali. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, word.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's more evidence that Israel is just everywhere. You know.
So this is why the whole East African slave trade concept becomes important to understand, because look at you being 3.5% Somali, sis. That's not a small trace percentage. That's a decent chunk. You know what I'm saying? For you to be coming out of Miami.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Born and raised 305.
So that's serious right there, fam. That's why like Lemba, when Kohen Hamadishe told me, he was like, no, Lemba were on slave ships. I was like, oh, word. I immediately started jumping into the info. I was like, okay, let's see if it's even plausible. I was like, oh, wait a minute. 540 came from Mozambique. 540,000 came from but they're grabbing it. Like, so you got to understand how the trade routes work. Like, so there's a trade route coming down from Yemen through East Africa going down to Mozambique, right? So they're collecting people all the way down, all the way down, and then putting them on the ports in Mozambique, knowing that's where they get the big money, selling them to the Europeans and whatnot. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. And then that scripture that talks about back into Egypt again on ships. That's where they took them from. The East African slave trade. They went right on along this way, went that way.
Yo, that's a trip, sis. Like that's like 3.5% Somali. Like again, so that you got 10.5% of your DNA coming from East Africa. Like that's significant.
The horn, baby, crazy.
Hold on. So what you got there covering Mali and Mauritania right there? That's just the West Africa. That's just broad West African. Okay. Wow. So you see that goes up into Mali and Mauritania. Wow. Okay.
It's covering Senegal, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote d'Ivoire, yeah.
It's like it go whoop straight across.
What does it say about the Somali right there? Click on that for me, would you? Because it gives like a breakdown of it, right? Yeah. It should have, yeah. People of Somali extraction trace their heritage to the Horn of Africa because at direct
Indian Ocean slave. Look at us.
Wow.
And, I was trying to bring this out on Berean's channel when I was on that 10-hour live, and Faithful was trying to come at me, and I was trying to get to that point, because they were saying like, oh, you didn't go back to Egypt and slave ships, blah blah blah. Besides the fact that the Byzantine Empire did it, the East African slave trade did it to the Bantu ethnic groups that was in this area, and you can see that in the DNA, in the migration, and all these different things, and in a lot of literature too.
Yeah, to that revert, like I just give the reverse argument because like the like vocab Malone started that argument out, right, about the slave ships, like really pressing that one, right, a long time ago. And like to that, my reverse question, like, so I don't even trip on that. Like I just want to know, like, so can you show me where every other Jewish group went into Egypt? You know what I'm saying? Like can you show me where the Ashkenazi went in, where the Yemenites went in, where the Mizrahi went in, where the Sephardic went in? Just break it down for me. Because you just talking about us. Like, can you prove where you was? Like, bro, show me where all of them went, fam.
Dude, we'd be waiting until the Saints come home.
Fam. Oh, that's what's up. I would be intrigued to see what your stuff looks like in the family tree as well. Because like family tree will tell you like so for me they gave me less than 2% Somali, Eritrean, and Ethiopian. Like so they get like yeah. So for instance, if you get on the map in Somalia one more time right quick. Just on the map. Yeah, you got it. Like so look at the overlapping regions there, right? Does it overlap Ethiopia at all or no?
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Yeah, like so, like when you gotta look at these maps and see what they overlap, because they'll tell you Somalia, like, or they'll tell, like if you go to Nigeria, right, it'll overlap Benin, Togo, etc. You know what I'm saying? So like you got to see where it overlaps and then compare and contrast in other areas.
It overlaps. What would this be? Like the southeastern part of Ethiopia? Not too far from Addis Ababa.
Man.
You know.
So that's that's significant.
Yeah, just like, about all the Somali.
Yeah, my homie Yehukina, he got 3% Somali in my heritage or whatnot, and he also got Middle Eastern DNA. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen Israeli Jews, right, that have literally no Middle Eastern DNA at all, not a drop. But yet we're coming through with Eritrean Somalia, you know what I'm saying, DNA or Somalian DNA or Middle Eastern DNA, etc. Like, come on, fam. There's a reason
other
for
screenshot I sent you that was like Western Semitic. That threw me. I'm gonna be honest.
In the Cave Palestine or Kids in Palestine, which one was it?
I don't.
Hold on. Hold on, let me go through it right quick.
But I know when I sent it to you, it's labeled Western Semitic. I don't remember.
Western Semitic. Yeah, I got you. Hold on, let me find it right quick. Let me find it right.
Like the Near East, I have Near East, Middle East, and Western Semitic came up in different projects, and they were all generally around the same percentage, like 5%. You know.
And what's interesting about that is like people like Dana Martinici and other people are advancing a theory that there was two Canaans, that the original Canaan in the first part of Genesis is located in southern Arabia, East Africa, and then everything else migrates to the Levant after that. And so there's genetic evidence for this, there's linguistic evidence for this, and there's some archaeological evidence for this. Because she's talking about she can go to Yemen right now and find all the names from like the first part of Genesis still there. I'm like, oh, word? Like, so.
Yeah, and you know what? That makes sense because Ham was all up in that region.
Yeah, okay, it's not that one. I gotta get the other one. Okay. Which one says West Asian? I'm looking. So I got one on the Docat after now. It says Southwest Asian.
It says Southwest who now?
Southwest Asian.
No, I mean the Western Semitic. That was the one. It was in the first email that I sent you, I believe.
Okay, let me go back.
It might be the Punt DNAL.
Oh, okay.
That one.
Okay.
It's one of those.
Ah, got you. That's it. That's it right there. You got it. Hopefully I got the right one up. Yep. So 11.74% Western Semitic. yeah,
And
that's
there go that mixing again. And you remember, if we string all this together, and you see it's going from East Africa, and then we're going through the Congo, and we're going into the Sahel a little bit, and down into West Africa.
yeah. We're going through the Sahel and dispersion from there. Like we're
Yep.
dispersing up and down from there. Like also they're like so. Dana Marnici talks about like so from one of the Babylonian migrations that you have people coming all the way into Chad. You know what I'm saying? That ended up becoming like the Soninke, the Songhai, the Zagawa, the Zagai people and whatnot, and they break out from a large. Like so, for instance, when you get into Shlomo's book, when he talks about Ibn Khaldun and whatnot, he'll talk about like Judaized Berbers, right? People who were converted, right? And what Dana Marnici says is like if she says if there was a conversion, because she doubts that there was a conversion, she says, but if there was a conversion, it was done by these people that came in from Babylon and went into Chad and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It became the Songhai people, the Zagai people, the Soninke people, the Zagawa people. And she breaks down like their connection to like the big West African dynasties and whatnot. So it's a big story people need to understand. So that people can talk about like this whole the Black Sephardic Jew stuff all they want to. It's cool. I'm not mad at you, brother. It's definitely one part of the story to talk about. But like, how did we get there? Like, how do we get to Spain? Right? Is the question I like to ask. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And people need to understand them routes and whatnot, because even the Muslims are talking about trade routes coming in from Yemen, Ethiopia, thick and heavy. And when you understand like the population density, it's very possible. That there's more Israelites that come in from Ethiopia, Yemen, into Africa, period, than came in from the Levant. People need to understand that like the population in Southern Arabia was huge in comparison to the Levant. Huge in comparison to the Levant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because I think that can also be extrapolated to the fact that a lot of biblical scholars believe that Ophir was on the east coast of Africa and and everything like that, and King Solomon had his mines and stuff over there, Great Zimbabwe, etc., etc.
Right. Exactly. And yes, and we're heavily involved in the mining, etc. Heavily involved in mining and whatnot. Wherever we go. Let me see if you got your specific one on this. Okay, so this is the mixed population, okay, and the Cade African.
I mean, I'm not sure if I sent that one, but if you want, I can go grab it for you.
Your Oracle? Do you have your
The single population for this one, which one is it?
The punt DNA?
Yeah, I can go grab it if you want.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. But yeah, the more I look at your DNA, the more I'm saying that you come from a mixed population that's mostly West African, but somebody slid in from East Africa, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like you, obviously, it's like so. I hadn't even seen your My Heritage. I was like, yeah, you look like somebody slid in. Like there's a big jump, and then out of nowhere, oh, what's this? You got 3.5% Somali DNA. Okay, yeah, you see that? Is this evident? You know what I'm saying?
3.5%, 7%, definitely.
Yeah, that's evident. So 10.5% of your DNA is from East Africa. That's significant. That's not a small portion. You know what I'm saying? There's people that get less than 10%, like Ashkenazi Jewish team. They're like, oh yeah, I'm a Jew. You know, I'm like, come on, like that's serious. Because that begs the question. Okay, if we're supposedly just West, like, so they tell us all the time, like, so why aren't you happy being just West African? Like, well, because maybe I'm not just West African.
Period. Why you get to be, Southern Italian, and you get to be all these different, trace your history back to Rome, Greek, hoorah, you do all this stuff, Irish, etc. I just gotta settle for, hey, why aren't you just happy with being African American? Why aren't you happy with just being Black? Well, one, Black is not an ethnicity, thank you. And why aren't you just happy with being West African? Do I come from all of West Africa? Because there's a few countries that's on the west coast of Africa.
And how did I get to West Africa? Because when you actually look at the deep, like, so they're like, oh man, like E1B1A is like native to West Africa. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It migrated there, fam. Know that. Know that. E is an east-west migration in Africa. Know that.
Yes. 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 Yes.
A and
Definitely a
B were there. Like
migration.
A, like if you want to talk about A being there, cool, got you. Yes, got you. They were there before E was. But E met them there. So for in order for E to meet them, they had to travel there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, here we
Oh,
go.
I think you're gonna flip out on this here
Okay.
because you've mentioned something and it's like smack dab here. Oh,
So this is the punt DNA or
yeah.
oh wow, you got Chad right there. See what man.
You know what? I gotta go. I gotta do it. I gotta do it for y'all.
I know he ain't named after a lake in Chad.
I'm really not, but there's there is in this area a water system that literally has my name. And I'm like, man, y'all be putting lots of nuggets in my name and just and my
Man.
birthday with numbers and stuff like that. It's just wow.
Mm-hmm.
He shows a lot, but there's like this river over there. It has Noah's name over there as well as my name. I think it's like Shari, something like that.
And real talk, a lot of the West African people you got on your list or whatnot have east to west migration stories, and have a lot of oral,
Really?
yeah, and have a lot of oral traditions about coming from East Africa, etc., or the Middle East, all the type of stuff. And a lot of people try to be like, oh, well, that's only that only happened after Islam. Like, no, fam, that got recorded during the time of Islam because they were writing it down in Arabic or whatnot, which was like a lingua franca for everyone at the time. They were recording it in Arabic, but those were their oral stories, fam. Like so, for instance, like with the Yoruba, right? There's a clan of the Yoruba that say that the Queen of Sheba comes from them,
Wow.
and her
Yeah,
name is
and I've heard that.
and her name is Bilkisu in their language, right? And her name in the Quran is Bilkis. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I gotta look at that.
Wow.
I got a heavy like Fulani Yoruba link and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So like, which was crazy too, because my father was a Christian, right? A Christian minister and whatnot. And he always told me like that. He thought that we were Cush or Sheba in the Bible and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? He never made the Israelite link. Um, but when I got my DNA test and I saw like the Yoruba link, I was like, oh, Pop might be right. Might like, but again, when I also I got East like so in my Ethio-helix, I come up in single population distances with Ethiopian links and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I'll show mine in a second when we're done showing yours. But like so my mom and Abu, for instance, like if you look at my recent video with the Abu shows up like in the single population distance in Ethiopia Helix, and so does my mom. They're both North African, have Moroccan links and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Um, my mother connects to her Jewish links. Abu chooses not to. Um, uh, however, um, I come up with closer distances than either Abu or my mother in the single population distances, which means my father, who is 94%, 92, 94% sub-Saharan African with an E1A, not E1B1A, but E1A haplogroup, he had to be
Really?
he had to test lower than either my mother or me in order for me to be lower than my mother
Check
in
this
the
out.
single population distances. So that's got to be explained, fam.
Somebody need to explain it. And while you explaining it, let's cut a reparations check. I'm just saying.
Yee!
You can explain. Go ahead, cut that check. But yeah, when I was watching Minister Dante Fortson video on the Jews in West Africa, and he was showing the Emmanuel Bowen map, and so I had excuse me, I had went and I just started looking on it and everything like that. I went to Google Maps just to look because in Google Earth, and I just love doing that sort of thing. And then I'm hovering over there, and I went and looked at my haplogroup, and I was looking into that, and that was coming up heavy in the Chad area, the Chad region. And then I saw this river, and I was like, yo, if y'all did not want me to trace this migration, I mean, whew, I can't tell because he's dropping nuggets everywhere.
So what's beautiful to understand about this migration system is that so a lot of us are aware, like with like the Black Sephardic Jew information, to where like even with the like family tree, for instance, right? Like they were breaking down like when the Sephardic Jewish segment came up, there was something like like the Babylonian captivity, people going to Spain and whatnot, right? People know that concept, right? What people don't know is that like so the Limber claim that they went from the Babylonian captivity to Yemen and then to East Africa.
Yep. And
We
then
got
a lot of
Sister Dana Marniche talking about like the people who became the Songhai people coming in to Chad from the Babylonian captivity.
right.
So look at how big that distribution is from the Babylonian leaving the Babylonian captivity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spain, Chad, and Yemen.
Yeah, and
So
the
if people are
Yoruba's
going, if
migration is also interesting too, because they come out from Assyrian captivity, go down through Egypt, and then cross over the Chad Sahel region into West Africa.
So right, and here's the thing about like so if we're in Chad, right, like if we're in the central part of the Sahel region or whatnot, right, like and we end up having a migration coming. So for instance, like there is a migration that's documented in the Tariq El Sudan, I believe that one. It's either the El Sudan or El Fatah that talks about like the Himyarites coming over, or talks about a man coming over from like the Himyarite kingdom and whatnot, right? Or his name is Al Yaman or whatnot. But so he comes from Yemen, right? And the time period he comes in, the oral tradition that goes along with the story says that he came in with the Jews, right? And when you understand the history of the time period, the Himyarite kingdom just fell to the Ethiopian Christians at the time, and so they migrate into West Africa from being defeated by the Ethiopian Christians at the time. So like again, like they go from East Africa to West Africa, and then you got our people in in Chad already in the middle in the Sahel and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So there's Israelites all throughout this route. There's Hebrews all throughout this route.
All throughout this
right?
area.
Dana talks about like seeing not just the Israelites but Midianites and all kind of other people mentioned in the Bible and whatnot that are teamed up together in these different routes and whatnot, trying to help each other survive and whatnot. Like she'll talk about like with the Tuareg, for instance, that you can see like the Midianites and the Israelites teaming together to survive or whatnot. But anyway,
Mozabite, what you got? Mozabite down here?
Yeah, that's the Berber stuff right there. That's what a Mozabite
is. It's crazy.
Like so, when you talk about like when your DNA is going into Mauritania and whatnot in Mali, like understand that Mauritania stuff's the Mozabite stuff a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The hearts and people up there are people and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. And then can you even imagine counting, like actually taking a census with the, Israelite diaspora and the Israelites on the continent?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we dwarf that 8 million world Jewry of the Ashkenaz today. We literally probably 10 times that.
Oh, 100%.
Just the count of the Igbo, the Khan, and the Yoruba by itself, right there, you're just.
So y'all got to think about this, fam. Like the tribes, like the Yoruba or the Igbo or whatever, right? Like or like the Hausa. Like the Hausa is 80 million deep, fam. Like we're talking about one tribe that's almost double our population in North America. Like the DNA tests that get done amongst these tribes are so minuscule, it's ridiculous. It's not even worth talking about. But the current DNA tests on West Africans are insulting.
They really are.
Based upon the population size. They're like so for instance, with the Lemba being tested by the South Africans, right? They tested 261 minus 88 were Lemba, right? That's a bigger population test than what you. There's more people tested right there than what you'll ever see tested for like a Nigerian like Igbo test or a Yoruba test or a Mandinka test. Like you're not going to see that, fam. When you go look up go look up the DNA test, you'll see like 20 people, 50 people, 60 people for a population that's supposed to cover like 40 million people, 50 million people, 80 million people.
Like, I mean, my question would be, what are you trying to hide? Or who are you trying to hide?
It's not even trying to hide. It's like not find. But at the same point in time, it's our responsibility to go find it. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't expect no one else to go tell our story but us. You know what I'm saying?
All they're going to do is just cover up and say what they want to say and not tell the whole truth, the half truth. I'm all for it. I'm all for You know,
Stay
Israel
tuned.
doing
We
Israel
got stuff
things.
rolling out for that family. We got big things we're talking about with that family. So please stay tuned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have the mixed. I mean, I could just scroll down if you want. Damn, there's a lot
I
of
see the
that.
Fulani mix, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense with you being with from Miami as well, because there's a lot of Fulani that came in through the again from the Rice Coast, but also from the Caribbean that came through. There's a lot of people. That's the thing about Miami too. So you got everyone coming up from the Caribbean and then people coming down from Charleston and whatnot. So it's a lot of that mixture happening. So it all makes sense. Like, so you see a large chunk of the Rice Coast, you see a bit of the Congo, and you see a bit of East Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, that East Africa stuff, people got.
I mean,
That's
you
such
can
a
literally
big deal.
just
People
use
don't
this for
understand.
migration. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's why I use GedMatch for is to understand migration patterns and whatnot. Because when they give the distance, like you can start walking stuff back, and when you see like a big jump, that you can start. You have a question you have to answer. Like, so why is that jump there? And so, like what we just saw, I was like, I made the small prediction. Like, I was like, yeah, you seem like you got a big jump where someone came in from East Africa, and what do we see? 10% of your DNA comes from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's significant.
And it's crazy because I'm being pulled to go back to East Africa.
Mm-hmm. So the question is, do you originate in West Africa or East Africa?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Because you got enough DNA showing a migration story to where, like, yeah, you could really have originated from the East African and migrated through the West.
My hypothesis would be is that we came out of Israel, went into Egypt, stayed in Africa, went to Ethiopia, went to Somalia, Kenya. Some ancestors and some of mine went west. That's my hypothesis.
Right. And the cold part is like what we see right here. Hold on. That's what her L3 is saying.
Literally. It's literally that.
That's what her L3 is saying.
Literally that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm getting a bit hungry, so I think it's time that we should wrap this up. You know what I'm saying? We've been going for an hour and a half. Yo, this is fascinating. Like, super fascinating. Like, I appreciate you coming on and showing me your DNA and whatnot. Because, again, it confirms the necessity for us to do further testing with this East African link.
Absolutely.
I never thought about it until Kohen Hamadishe said something about, yeah, we were on slave ships going to America. I was like, what? Okay,
Yeah.
let me go look at that right quick. And then when I see it, like, cause there's people like Garfield assume like, yeah, there's no East African connection. There's like Ngozi, there's no East African connection. Okay, now I'm seeing it though. Now we got to break this down. How did this happen? Where are we getting through? Because a lot of times they're like, oh, so you're connecting to like the Bantu Somalis. Like, nah, Fang. You got to show me that, fam.
Yeah. I need receipts.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
like,
it's crazy. This DNA study it's deep. I mean, the revelations when you're reading a study and then you're like, oh, I remember reading something about this over here, and then you come and bring that over here, and then you see all the different things in my heritage and you match it up with GedMatch. I mean, wow. To us, it's undeniable, but naysayers are always going to be naysayers.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, let me see if I can bring mine.
I wanted to make a comment about that Natufian thing that came up in the booze results when I watched that video. And you had me dying laughing when you were like, man, people are going to be looking at you sideways now. People are really going to be looking at you. And so, look, me, I was like, let me get on over here. Let me see. I was like, shucks, no Natufian.
None whatsoever?
Nah. It didn't
like,
show
not
up
even like 1 or 2% at all?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
So okay, so
It came up with something else.
so here's the thing about the Natufians. Like, so there's two sides to that coin. So one, they are, you can find them in Canaan, right, all day. Yeah, no issue with that, right? But on another level, they're super old as well, right? So it's not a necessity that you're gonna have a connection with them in any way. Like, so again, like, so okay, so
Oh no,
Dante has a Yemenite, again, a Yemenite haplogroup, right? But he's only 3% Natufian.
yeah, I take that back. 86. That is 1.41%.
Yeah, so right. So again, so that okay, so that means you could be like, okay, that's Somalian sister, right? I was talking about. She's 30% Natufian, right? If she was taken in the slave trade at this juncture right now, her descendants would look like you in terms of their percentages. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so diluted amongst the West. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that small number doesn't mean like, oh, it's not insignificant. No, this is what I'm saying about, we have to understand what the different trade routes look like, what the different slave trade routes look like, and what the migration routes look like. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm 17%, right? So I got to know what I have to understand why that is, or like why Abu and my mother are like 30+%, or why the Somalian girls are about 30+%, right? Where that shows a certain migration range, a time frame, right? Okay, we went from this spot around the same time, hence we got the same breakdown. Okay, cool. When it's smaller and smaller and smaller, you're talking about mixing in a farther distance, or a older migration. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not like you should be like, oh, I'm only one. Like, no. Just understand what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all means something. Like, because again, someone's got to break down, why do you have 10% of your DNA coming from East Africa? Like, why? Shouldn't it all just be West African?
Shouldn't it all be just West African? And when you look at this, right? When you look at this, and then you see these big jumps that you were talking about. This is the Jed Asia, Asia.
Oh, Gendrosia, yeah. So you got your Gentuvian right there, 1.4. Yeah. Wow, look at the bottom. Syrian, Palestine, Jordanian, Bedouin, Egyptian, man, Yemen, man, come on. Somali, come on. Maasai, man.
Coming, what? Where we coming from, fam? Where we coming from? We coming from that east, going on
okay,
into
Mota,
East
right?
Africa.
Mota, again, that's Ethiopia, right?
Yeah. It's 7.22 distance. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You go down here and then you see all this. And you know, I actually gathered pictures of people, of these individuals here, that look like this. And I mean, wow. I just look like an Afro version of them, a legit Afro-Asiatic person.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. All this Gambian. DNA is an amazing thing. Genetics is an amazing thing. All glory to y'all because he created it, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. 100%.
And that's my thing too. I feel like I don't think enough people really understand that all of the sciences, no matter what it is, that he laid the foundation for that in Genesis.
Yeah, so here's my joint, right? Like, so I'm 11% Kenyan on the My Heritage. You feel me? So you and I both have here, and again, look at the Kenya actually overlaps Somalia in this map. It overlaps Uganda. It overlaps, hold on, southern Ethiopia. So you know what I'm saying? So you're 10%, like your Somalia and Kenya even covered Ethiopia. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
that southeastern portion sure does.
Mm-hmm. So both of us got 11% of our DNA coming from this part of Africa on My Heritage. Someone's got to explain that, fam. Someone got to break that one down. Look, it's touching Southern Sudan, all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got
look at Uganda. You about to take out Uganda.
Tanzania, all that, fam. Yeah, Uganda all the way took out, fam. Like, man, you're mine. Annex, gone. And look at this, Mozambique right there. This is the trade ports, fam.
Yeah.
They're taking people all the way down again, and these slave routes were already established via. hold on, get off my joint. We're already established with the Islamic slave trade. You know what I'm saying? So it's a continuation going into the transatlantic slave trade.
Exactly. It
And
literally is.
Yeah. So yeah. Hold on, let me get to my other one right quick. So that's my heritage, and so my family tree. Same concept.
You know, and when you follow these different slave trades, the Trans-Sahara, the East Indian, and then the transatlantic, they're all targeting the same people, Israel. Because we like literally just showed you that we were in the East, we were in the Sahel, we're in the West, we're in the South. They went and just plucked up Israel wherever they could find us. And many others too got, caught up in the mix, but
Yep.
they was looking for us.
So they got me over in, again, they got me Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Somalia.
Yeah,
A little bit of Kenya right there with that one. And look, they got Lalibela right there too for the picture.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So they got me less than 2% that, you know what I'm saying? But then they got me with the same stuff: Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got all that.
It even touches the Congo though. You feel me?
Yeah.
So y'all need to understand how close the Congo is to Kenya. Like I try to tell people, like, hold on, let me make this bigger right quick. So this is Mozambique, right? This is Angola. You have the Portuguese running both at the same time, and there's not much land in between.
Right, exactly. And we also got to think about that our ancestors were pastoralists. They were, farmers and sheep, goat herders and all that stuff. So they would follow the waterways, and that's what you're also seeing when we get these results.
Mm-hmm. So if you took your in a family tree, they would take your Mali, Mauritania, and throw it in North Africa, like they got mine and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like so, but yeah, you can, fam.
Look at this little like space between your Ethiopian, Somali, and Uganda and Angola. Like there's just not even that much space in between.
Man, like that's a straight line. Like bye 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 bye.
Yeah. Wow. I'm have to go. I'm not trying to spend those coins.
I'm not mad at you, man. I'm so not mad at you. I'm so not mad at you. But like okay, look at the difference, right? Like so here, like they got me at 24% in Maghreb in Egypt and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So my mom they were throwing her in Spanish. They gave her like a 27% Spanish, like 5% North Africa. Me, they took her DNA and gave me like the ancient version of it. You know what I'm saying? Like so, like she's got Middle Eastern DNA, and I'm supposed to have it in like Middle East or whatever. But it gave me East African instead. Like it was the origin of it. You know what I'm saying? Like this was like the North African was the origin of the Spanish stuff. Like it was a trip looking at this stuff.
I'm gonna have to get on that.
Yeah, man. Because and people need to understand like that different people test differently, so you can, and they have different regions how it matches up. Like so, when you see this, and then you go to GedMatch, you're like, oh, okay. This is why Morocco was coming. This is why Egypt was coming. This is why, okay, got you.
Wow, family. We're going to probably have to do a part 2 when I go and do this. That one, man, because, wow, I'll definitely, because September, I'm going to have to get on that. Wow.
Yeah.
I think my little ones are calling me, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to get on that here.
No worries. I got to do the same thing. But I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you sharing DNA. And leave your questions down below, fam. If you want to come through and share your GedMatch and DNA results, you're more than welcome to. We can always compare and contrast. We all learn from each other.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it. You'll be seeing me around, of course.
Yes, ma'am. But
love
shalom
you, fam.
to you. Yeah. Love you with the love of the Most High, fam. So with that, I'll say peace and love.
I like the way this feel, yeah. Let my soul cry, yeah, yeah, yeah. Minister, We gon' speak from the heart on this one. I'm performing lyrical funerals, no obituary. I killed your boy and brought him back to life. Pet cemetery. My anointing not based on attendance at a seminary. Scarlet witches, they attracted to the visionary. Everywhere I go, I bring the word with me, missionary. Soldier drafted in the war machine, military. Pay attention, what I'm saying to you, legendary. You got the demeanor of a front desk secretary. That mean you take the calls, but you don't make the calls. That's why you hate, cause ain't nothing fake about me at all. Now I dare you try to say that with a straight face. My delivery in tip-top great shape. I'm too advanced for you, light years, space age. No evolution for you cavemen, stone age. I'm a thoroughbred, rock solid. I came from the bottom to the top, rock climbing. I grew up in the hood, pros and cons. That's that full court pressure when the ambulance roll out that stretch. Why can't you see it's not logical? And you live diabolical. Boy, your point of view smaller than the hair follicle molecule. This for all of them that follow you, smoking all of them barbecue. When I pull up, your voice don't correct itself with no auto-tune. I got a whole nother level that I can enter whenever I gotta deal with the devil. I pick a whole nother method. I hear a whole lot of yapping. They wanna see my reaction. Really out here in the community making it happen. I don't really think they understand the dilemma. They ain't looking at the man in the mirror. I can't say it any clearer. The plan is very simple. It's time to start playing in the temple. Before somebody come and put the can on your temple. Reaching like a baby with his hand for the nipple. The Grand Reaper coming with his hand on the sickle. In the van coming with a ram with it. With the van coming get him. I am so glad that I changed up. Made it out of where I came from. Watch for the slide and the hook of the slow ball, fastball, and that change up. That ghetto lifestyle, it changed us. Go back to visit, it ain't changed much. Only difference is now the way that my brain process information. And Satan, been after my license day one. Let me say something. Only reason that I'm still alive today because God's grace is amazing. Just another raisin in the sun. Dream deferred when things occurred. Now you getting served right on the curb like a lemonade stand. I just gave you the benediction, let the whole church say amen.